Pleasant good afternoon, good Monday afternoon, one and all. Welcome to the Monday's edition of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption Competence. You will note that we are at a different time today. The reason will be explained in a little while, but welcome. Share the live, share. A lot of people would not have been aware that classes are going to be held this afternoon at 4. The number of calls and messages I got suggests that some people did not hear on Monday when we said that there would be no class on Friday, and that the class on Monday today the time will be announced later. I did post a notification yesterday afternoon, last evening, to say that we're going to be at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and yet still we had a number of calls. People want to know what's going on and all that. So share the live, because a lot of people, when you look at the numbers, we're up to 500 now. Only by now we're close to 8, running to 1,000. So a lot of people would not have gotten the notification that we are going to be on at 4 o'clock today, Monday, the 28th day of July, 2025. Yeah, that's today. Another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to be in the land of the living. It is a privilege. I continue to say it is a privilege to be in the land of the living. So here we are. Share. And we are going to get with it in a while. You know, it was a real struggle to be able to get here this afternoon. Real struggle. Tired. I'm tired. So, but nevertheless, I said, Cici and I agreed that regardless, we got to come and we have got to bring you the credible, valuable information, especially in this silly season. You know, we continue to say this is a silly season, and therefore we have got to bring you the information. And one of the things too, we did not want to miss 2 consecutive class days, because we were not here on Friday, and we said, no, we can't miss Friday and Monday. Things gonna pile up, or we didn't want things to pile up. So here we are. Share. The program was scheduled at 1, as we had said. 1 this afternoon, and immediately when the gates were open, the students were flooding in. Surprising. But I should not be surprised, because I know many persons are just eager to hear what we have to say on Speaking Out. Just eager. So you're hearing the number. We need to share, because we're not at the usual number when we start, which is not totally unexpected, because Friday people call in, the messages, what happened to the program? Let me be honest with you. Let me be brutally frank with you. It can be a little off-putting, because the announcement is made. Those students who were here would have heard me saying on Wednesday that there will be no program on Friday. And I did say at the same time that the program, in terms of the timing for Monday, stay tuned. We're going to tell you the time. And yet still, this morning, people want to know what's going on. This afternoon, oh man, come, you all students. I know if you used to get time out, you people are going to detention, you will get time out and all of that. But it was a struggle for me to be here this afternoon. But I've said the interest of the student is very, very important. So I braved it. Barely made it to be here with you this afternoon. So share. As a result of that, a lot of the things that would normally get in a certain order, they are not in that order at this stage. So you all forgive me if you see a thing in the wrong and a rumbling around, a rummaging around. Is because of the desire to ensure that I come and I bring you the program this afternoon. CC's here already in the studio as is usual. Once I said to him, CC, I really can't make a Friday. I explained to him, and then I said, look, Monday can be a difficulty with the time. When I communicated to him to say, well, look, 4 o'clock, he said, he's always ready and available. And again, I say, you students got to do your own thing, man. That is to say, you got to make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I suspect those who are calling and messaging and texting, they have not subscribed, or else they would have gotten the notification that we don't have a program at 11 o'clock, the usual time, today, Monday, but it's going to be at 4 o'clock instead. They would have also been told that no program on Friday, right? but they're still coming and you're still molesting and so on. Yeah, it can be a bit off-putting, but nevertheless, we're gonna come, we're gonna bring you the credible, valuable information. I said another great day that the Lord has made. Today, the 28th day of July, 28th day of July 2025. Let's rejoice. Let's be glad in it. I'm gonna go through all this little tiredness. Some of you might see it in my face, tired, but we're gonna get through. We are going to get through. We are. So I'm gonna do the roll call, and after the roll call, we're gonna make the announcements, and then we're gonna move straight into it. So share in the meanwhile, share. And the roll call, as I've said, is an attempt to allow for others to join the latecomers, and especially those who might not have been aware that we have a class at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So it's for you now who are here to tell them. You would have seen many of your colleagues are not here yet. Maybe they didn't know that we're going to be here this Monday afternoon. So we're going to share. The program was scheduled at 1, as was promised. And immediately, this is something, students were there in the classroom, not as many as before in the schoolyard, but they were there. They were there. And the first man registered, Ulrich, followed by Aubrey from Canada, Janelle, welcome to Orly class, Clarence, Sharon from the UK, Brian, Derek, Carlton, then you have Raul, Desiree is from Georgia, Anthony is here, Marcia, Charlene, Mary, Courtney, Carl, Vibert, Rhonda, Kenneth, Carrie-Ann, Denise, Sean from upstate, Sandra, Tilula, this is Tatiana, then Clifton, then it was Francis Kidd, Atisha, Deborah, David, Tessa, Morton, Ord, Dexter, Wayne from the UK, then it was Sharon, Anak Sharon, Colin, then Patricia, Jason, Pamela, then we had Sandra, Terrence from Canada, 9795. Sagi, 9602 is here. Abira, Marva, Go, Morty is here with us very early this afternoon. Phil, Peter, Philip. Then it was Joan from New Amsterdam, Donna, Boo, Ashley, Magnell, Annette, Rayburn, Ivlaw from Texas, Magnell, Joseph, Carol, Delverne, Claudius, Pastor Smith is here. Then it was Paul, Courtney, Michael, Maureen, another Michael. This is Michael Storage in Baimadai in the House Region 7. Siobhan, Russ, Ricardo is here. Rhonda from Denhamstel in the house. Rhonda, see, Denhamstel had some action over the weekend, man, with police and PVP supporters and APNU supporters. I'm going to talk about it that's in the while. Elroy, Melinda, Lorraine, Evelyn. This is Sean. And Sean, I can't recall this student before, but Sean is saying this program needs to be 5 days a week with a Saturday roundup of the past week's occurrence. It's too damn informative for only 3 days a week. We struggle sometimes to get the 3 days. We struggle, but we understand your sentiments. Benji from Myconi. Then we have Lorraine, Farina, Diane, Winslow, Clive from the UK, Henrik, Shibon. Then we have Kevin, Leon, Jacko from Georgia. Smitty is here with us. Doreen from Canada, Bernard, Kyle, Anthony, Colin, Sean, Uncle Paul, George, Patricia, Aubrey, Wayne, Cecile, Ricky Smith, Orin from the UK, Moses, Raquel, Paulette, Dawn, Vaughn, Hewell, Mike, Karen, Allison, Christy Jack, Heather, Carlisle, Patricia, Valerie, Gordon, Margot, Dylan, Bernadette, Father Masha, Trevor, Marcus, Karen, Paulette, Sandra, Corrine, Chilo is here with us. Ovid, Sydney. Then it was O'Neill, Jerry, Barbara, Bonita, George, Dion, Westmas, Sheena, Umi, Alwyn, Queenie, Hope, Colin, Cloyd, Maureen, Deborah, Melbourne, YouTube user. Then it was Jean, Fergus, Barbara. Then after Barbara, it was Alex, Leslyn, next Lorraine, BV Man Ezekiah is here with us. Annette, Ishwan, Harold, Allison, JK is here. Ras Levi, Tessa, Vashti, Mark, Vorlin. Then it was Danny, Hazel, Orville, Vorlin, Faye, Cecile, Allison, Keith, Stefan, Princess, Lamar Springs, Ivor came here. Then we have Yeson from Trinidad, Ivor, Neville is here, Gail from Florida, Joseph, Emerson, Kerry is here, Donald, Ty, Lennox, Phil, Melville, Reggie, Mark, Double X is here. Then you got Angel, Dave, Ian is here with us. Michael, the next Michael, Magnell, Junior. Who else is here? Well, Junior was the last man. Junior was the last man in the schoolyard before the doors were open. When the doors were open, we have Abu. Then after Abu, we have Annette. Then Neil, Carlton, Popo, Steve, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So welcome to you students this afternoon. As I told you, all are struggling, but nevertheless, classes, as we said back in the day, class calling. So here we are to bring you the incredible, valuable information. For the announcements, now let me start as we usually do with the sad announcements. The first one that I want to talk about is the death of Assistant Commissioner Raphael Rose. Police Assistant Commissioner Raphael Rose passed. That was a shocker to me. Shocker. And I have something to talk about it. So what I'm going to do, let me go through the other greetings, bring in CC, and then we're going to come back. And I have something to talk about the death of Assistant Commissioner Raphael Rose. Another death over the weekend, those of you who are into wrestling, Hulk Hogan passed away a few days ago. Want to take this opportunity to express condolences to the relatives and friends and all those who have passed, and to say, I hope that the Lord will give you strength, especially the members of the police force and the family of Raphael Rose. The family of Raphael Rose. I'm going to talk about it. I will talk about him in a short while. Now, let me tell you about some announcements. The other announcements. Today is the birth anniversary of a man who is here, Cecil Semple. Cecil Semple is observing a birth anniversary today. Cecil, you think I would forget? No, I will not forget. I always remember we are so close. Then we have belated birthday greetings. I'm going to start off belated birthday greetings to me. I'm going to tell you about it a little while from now. Also, we had Royal George, my Redmar friend. Wayne Amsterdam, my squad mate, 9370. Navin Sankar used to be at Custom, used to be at Soko, I don't know where he is now. He too had a birthday recently. And we have a Nigel Bradshaw birthday coming up shortly. Now, I as many of you know, I want again, let me say thank you for all the birthday wishes. Hundreds and hundreds of wishes from very early. Yesterday, all day, I was there replying and so on. I appreciate it very much that you could take some time off to wish me happy 70th birthday. I've been there. I've been around the sun 70th times. You know what the Bible says? Bible says the 70, 3 scores and 10. So I've reached 3 scores and 10. I am thankful to the Lord for allowing me to reach that 3 scores and 10. My faculties are still intact. I feel good. I don't have any real ailment and so on. You know, something you get one niggles at time. But apart from that, so I am extremely, extremely thankful to the Lord for allowing me to see 3 scores and 10. And I will continue to pray and give him praise and hope that he keeps me for as long as possible, to see perhaps another 10, 20 as it goes, with good health and strength. You know, they sit down and they're scheming, you know, they're planning to take out Slow, because Slow has come on this program and Slow has exposed the scampishness and the incompetence and the corruption. So they're planning. But the Lord has allowed me to see 3 scores and 10. Again, I am very, very thankful for that. Friday, as I indicated, there was no program because I had a convention to attend. I attended a convention in California in the US to do with financial literacy. And oh, what a wonderful time. Oh, what a wonderful time. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I was traveling, a long travel to get back here to make sure they can give you the valuable, credible information. Yeah, so it was a wonderful, wonderful exposure to some what we call financial literacy. You know, it was outstanding. And I said, the nature of me is to share. I have always said, those of you who want to get the information, just contact me, and I will share whatever information, whatever knowledge. By now, you know that I am one, along with CC, we like to share the little knowledge I get. I obtained so much more knowledge over the weekend. So much more. And then I am in a position, even a better position now, to help families, to give them advice and to give them guidance. So all you got to do is contact you. Then asking you nothing to contact me if you want to know more about what I am talking about. So yeah, that was my birthday yesterday at the convention all day. And everybody who knew wishing me happy birthday online. Oh man, it started early online. And I, you know, for years now, I've always tried to respond to every single birthday greeting that I got, because I feel that if someone can take the time to wish me happy birthday, then I should find the time to respond. So either by liking or say thank you, whatever it is. Maybe I have a few more to respond to, but I'll get around to it before perhaps the day is out. Because people still sending belated greetings. They are still selling belated greetings, and again, very much appreciated. Now let me move on before I bring in CC. I know you're going to want to talk about this too, cricket. Cricket in the air. I ain't talking about West Indies cricket. That is not cricket that they're playing there. Somebody told me a few nights ago when the West Indies made 214, I think it was, in St. Kitts. I said 214 is not runs in St. Kitts. St. Kitts is the smallest ground in the West Indies. Those of you who know, you know now. Smallest ground. You miss it and you gone out the park. And so said, so done. But I'm talking about the cricket match, the fourth test between India and England. Oh, what a test match. That test cricket can die when you have matches like that. India in the fourth innings, 300 and odd. England replied 600 plus, a big lead. And then the amazing part, when India was replying in the second innings, 2 wickets down for no runs. 2 wickets down for no runs. And then those men came, Shubman Gill, KL Rahul, stood up with that partnership. Then early in the final day, both of them gone. And then Washington Sundar and Jadeja, hundreds. But hey, test cricket, you can stop test cricket. You cannot tap those of us who know the game. That thing where you call that slam dash lick, that lick and promise thing that you call T20 and all. Test cricket is the best. Test cricket is the best. So yes, I enjoyed that game. Many times I can't see it live, but what I will do, I will follow it on Cricket Info on my phone or one of my devices as well. Yeah, let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're gonna move on. CC, welcome, my brother, welcome.
Good afternoon. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. I just want to reminisce a bit. We had Leroy Charles, ex-police, who was chairman of the ex-police association in America. He died, and some activities were arranged for him. Night of reflection at the ex-police Association building in Cowan Street. And thanks to Mr. Nicholas Soframe, did an excellent job in terms of getting things together. They had retired Deputy Commissioner Henry Chester also, he chaired the proceedings. Wonderful time, met quite a number of persons. And then I think on Saturday was the funeral in Pleasance. The church was rampack, and we had a good association of former members of the Guyana Police Force. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, we didn't see any senior retired police officer. They don't attend these functions, I don't know, for some strange reasons. But time is going to come when they will also be ex-members. And I met quite a number of persons there, as usual, some lovely ladies. And I want to shout out to Lorraine, and especially Marva. She said, Mr. Conway, CC, you don't shout me out, you don't say anything but me. So I'm doing so now, Marva. And also belated birthday greetings. I think you missed out this one, Paul. Vibert Smith, 7464. And I'm indebted to Vibert, he worked at my Coney and he took me in hand. In terms, I was a member of the general duty staff, the uniform staff, and he took me in hand, taking negative statement, taking further statements, getting me to visit scenes and all kind of that. I learned so much that when they transferred me to the Northwest to Mabrumo, I became a big thing because I knew more in terms of investigation than the senior detectives that they had there. And I talked about Detective SO. So, Smithy, belated birthday greetings to you. And I want to tell you that age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And then I got 10,494 Lewis. Yesterday he was 66 years old. Paul, he said he's from course 96. He said his number was, he was a number before Assistant Commissioner Lake Raj. And he said, you were his drill instructor, you were his instructor, and he learned so much about you. And then yesterday was your birthday, Paul. Belated greetings. And I want to put my things in cricketing terms, Paul. I want to put cricketing in cricketing terms. You got to realize that right now, Paul, you can't hit sixes and fours at will anymore. I repeat, you can't hit sixes and fours at will anymore. And please, don't try to hit across the line because you're not Vivian Richards. Don't try to go blasting for runs. You're not Juan Kanai. Don't try to beat the field. You're not Brian Lara. Don't try to go over the top. You're not Carl Lupo. Don't try to hit hard because you're not no Clive Lloyd. And don't try to be a six machine. You are not Chris Gale. And then, Paul, I want to tell you something because it is not only about, it is not only about batting, it's about feeling. I got to be careful the way you feel, Feel at short leg. Feel at fine leg. Feel at long leg. Feel at backward square leg. Feel at forward square leg. Feel at leg slip. But for heaven's sake, don't feel in the gully. And remember that when Bradman scored 6,996 runs for an average of 99.94, he only had 6 singles, And when Brian Lara broke the record, 375, he only had 1 6, and he had 99 singles. I must say Bradman had only 6 sixes in his 6,996. And when Brian Lara scored his 137 runs, Paul, he had 100. When he scores 400, he had 137 singles. So you can do it in singles. And let me warn you that when you're going to play, Paul, play on a pitch that is well prepared. There's something in there for both the batsman and the bowler. And bat in the crease. Don't mind how they're floating it up. Don't mind how it's juicy, Paul, but in your crease. And remember that you can't hit sixes and fours at will anymore. The singles will do you well. Take the singles, but avoid the sharp singles. There's my wish to you, Paul, as a senior geriatric for the group.
Thank you very much. I can take your advice out of bat, because I guess um, you've been there, done that. It's always good to take advice from your seniors. So I'm going to take advice from the senior geriatric and just play bat and pat close together. And when you're taking single, no sharp singles, because at this age, you don't pull muscles, you pull bone. And when you pull a bone, you end up there, you can't move. You can't move. So you got to be very prudent, your butt. You got to choose the bowlers that you want to be. Don't chip down the wicket and play any rush shot, because you got to get caught, you get bowled, you get stumped. All the decisions can go against you. So I take that. I take that. But again, let me say, it's a wonderful feeling to have attained 70 that the Bible say is promised. I think it's Psalms 90 verse 10. Psalms 90 verse 10 said 70 is what is promised to us by the Lord. And they say by strength you can go to a next 10 or so. I intend to go for a long, 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 long time, because I'm feeling good. I'm going to take care of myself as best as I can with the help of my wife and family and so on. Thanks. A lot of support to have reached this age, feeling as well as I'm feeling and so on. And as some people say, if I am as good inside as I look outside, then I have a long, long way to go. You never know. You never know. And right, you never know. So thanks for all the wishes. And as I've said, it's being 70 is a nice thing. I mean, in some of the groups that I am in, I am considered one of the younger persons, because I have, from since I was small, growing up, the guys who I lined with were much older and much wiser, and then they impart the knowledge. Up to now, a lot of the people I hang out with are older than I am, in the 70s, in the 80s, and they're able to guide you, right? And you're able to emulate them and that. So thanks again. Thanks. Continue to share, folks. We got a lot of 1400 and mountain. That's surprising this afternoon, but continue to share. As I indicated a while when we started back, we have the unfortunate death of Assistant Commissioner Raphael Rose. It's unfortunate because the man, only the 11th of this month, 11th of July, he celebrated, or at least he had his 55th birthday, birth anniversary, 55 and 11. According to the public service rules, means that Friday or Thursday, I think, the last day in this month, the last day in July 2025 would have been his final working day in the public service. That's how it works. On you're 55, you're supposed to retire at 55. And you work until the last day of your birth month, and then on the first day of the new month, you're basically a civilian. I have noted in recent times in particular, all sorts of magic jiggery poogery going on. All sort of things. One man get more than one board, so they claim, and therefore, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. I am saying I'm retired now almost 15 years. Retirement is a good thing. It's a good thing, right? Rose should have been, at this time when he passed, he should have been on pre-retirement leave. Again, let me explain how the system works. Public service, police in particular, I know it, right? Now, as I've said, he would have retired on the 1st of August 2025. So since last year, if the system is working in the way it should work, I don't know what happens now, because there's so much incompetence and corruption, I don't know what happens. He should have gotten a letter last year to say that he is to retire from the 1st of August. In that letter, they would have told him how many days leave he should have gone on prior to retirement and the day he should have gone from the leave. All that would have been said in the letter, right? The commissioner would have normally written to you too and said, well, congratulations, having given so much service. Not like the one that Appy wrote to the man from Presidential Guard, Hines. This government, when it came into power in 2020 August, in September, this man Hines, I think September or something, in August itself, they took him on Presidential Guard, promoted sergeant shortly after, right? The man was 54 years of age when he was taken on. So he come on the job on 2020, he got promoted to sergeant, and he retired in 2021. And Appy wrote him a letter. I got a copy of the letter somewhere. Appy wrote him a letter to say that he was thanking him for the yeoman service he given to the force. The man had about 18 months service. 18 months. So you come on, they would write you to tell you that you're retiring. So all those who are retiring next year should have already gotten a letter to tell them what day they're retiring from, and they would have computed the pre-retirement leave to say you're going to proceed on pre-retirement leave from this date. I don't know what happens now. All things being, well, if things went the way they should have gone, Mr. Rose, who's now deceased, should have gotten a letter last year to retire from the 4th of August. He should have been on pre-retirement leave. Then I got the shocking news Thursday night or Friday, whenever it was, that he passed away. And, you know, it saddens me because I know Rose very well. Very well. Rose, when I was at Brigham as the commander there and up elsewhere, Rose was the man in charge of the mess, the messes. Brigham training school, so all the catering and all purchasing, that was Rose's forte. He did all of that. But then post 2020, he was removed. Then he got promoted assistant commissioner, senior super assistant commissioner, divisional commander, and all of that. But I am making the point that people should go on the pre-retirement leave. Now on the pre-retirement leave, and next thing that I've noted now, and I want the police them to listen carefully, I noted a lot of people not going on leave. You check the police senior officers to see when last they have gone on vacation leave. They don't take in vacation leave. Apparently where they are is so sweet, they don't want to leave, or perhaps they are influenced by what happened to Pazram. When he was at East Coast there, he was, and he didn't move. He went to leave. He had this big tiff with the crime chief, Blanham, letter writing and exchanging and all this type of thing. And he proceeded on annualized leave. And when the annualized leave was finished and he returned, I said, no, don't go back to to 4C. They park you up at headquarters, someplace there, and then after a while, you send him back to thing. Take your leave. The public service rule says, depending on your rank structure, you're given annualized vacation leave. Every year, you should get annualized vacation leave. You should take your leave. And let me say this, because this is one of the biggest breakdowns. Annualized vacation leave, according to the public service rules, is not automatically rolled over to the next year. Every year, the rule says that you must apply for your leave. And when permission is given, if the exigencies are of such, you can then make an application for your leave to be deferred to the next year. Let me understand this carefully, you know. Every year, I'm talking about police in particular, maybe it's the same thing for other public service organizations. Every year, you are supposed to apply for your annualized vacation leave. Whatever, when you get senior, Rose level, you would have been 42 days. And it all depends on your rank and your pay scale. You know that. But you are required to apply for it every year. It is not automatically rolled over to the next year. If you fail to apply for your annualized vacation leave in any year, it should be and could be forfeited. Let me understand this clearly. It should be forfeited. Once you apply for it and permission is granted for you to get the annualized leave, you can then seek permission to have it deferred to the next year. You can seek permission, and it's the administration will make a decision whether that permission will be granted or not. Right? And then the rule says too that you can't defer more than 2 consecutive years. So if you defer this year and next year, you can't defer the next year. 2 tours only you can defer. But also the thing happening now, people get hundreds and hundreds of days of leave, 300-400 days of leave. You look around. I mentioned Pazram going and leave sometime last year with after the thing. I think it was last year with and Blanham. Check to see the senior people in the force, whether they're going and leave or not. They're not go. Wonder why? Wonder why they don't want to take leave. And let me say this further. Let me see. I get in. No, well, I'm not saying that they should. I'm saying there's a rule, Toro. I'm saying that the rule, public service rule, is that you must apply for your annualized vacation leave every year, right? And You may make an application once the leave is granted for it to be deferred to the next year. You can make that application. If the administration feels that your application is justified, given the exigencies, they may say yes, roll it over to the next year. But the rule says you can't roll over more than 2 consecutive years. You cannot. That's what the rule says. And if you fail to apply for your vocational leave, it can be forfeited. And I remember some years ago, Dr. Roger Luncheon sent out a circular which is still in effect, to the same effect. He was the head of the presidential secretariat, that you must take your leave. Because taking the leave gives the officer the opportunity to relax. The police work is a stressful job, especially in these times, with all the political interference. Because you have a lot of people who are not pleased with the interference, but they lack the courage and the spine and to stand up, as I did back in 2003. They just cave into the political madness, right? They cave into the, so it's very, very stressful. You take your leave, you get an opportunity to relax. Senior officer, 42 days, maybe you travel someplace, you get a little time to spend with your family, and so on. Take your leave. Another important thing about leave is that leave provides the opportunity for the people down the line to act and to get experience. Very, very important. This is how the thing was structured. So when you, as a commander, apply for your leave, you get your leave, somebody else will act and run the division in your place. I have noted the next thing too, that the division structure, you get the divisional commander, you get the 2IC, you get the subdivision officer. I have seen many cases where a commander proceeds on leave or something goes abroad. They got to find somebody else from somewhere to send to Ulan and the division. It's madness. Every single second in command of a division or a branch or a station should be competent and capable enough to hold on for a brief period when the man goes on leave, if the commander or whoever goes on leave. You should be competent. And put it this way, if you cannot, if you, let's say, in any particular division or branch, as a second in command, and you're not capable of holding on and running that division or branch for any brief period when the commander goes off or the commander goes off, then you should not be in that position. You should not be the second in command of any division or branch if you're incapable of running that division or branch for up to 42 days when the person goes on leave. And I could tell you, because when I was second in command as a senior superintendent to Henry Green in A division, the largest division, and Henry Green go on leave or anyway, I ran the division. I was second in command to people like Assistant Commissioner Sidney Bombry, as he was at the time. When they got on leave, I used to run the division as the second in command. But now it is a clear indication that the people who they're putting as second in command, they don't have confidence in them. So why put them there? Why put them there if you don't have confidence? And when the commander goes on leave, you got to find somebody from someplace else to run the thing. The whole system is broken. That's what we're saying. The whole system is broken. Coming back to Rose, as I've said, I know Rose a long time. Decent guy, quiet, decent, nothing exposed to policing as such, but I guess he adapted. He was put to run a division, Region 9, let him, and he was there. I understand the man traveled the town with he should have been going back today or yesterday. And then the bully ordered him, he must go back immediately because apparently the president was going in somewhere in the area and the commander must go back. Again, I say, if you have a 2IC, you have a second in command, you want to tell me he's not capable of just being there when any dignitary, anybody visit, then he should not be the second in command. If you don't have confidence that for a couple hours somebody's going to go there and requires the presence of a senior officer, and this 2IC is not capable, then he should not be the 2IC or the second in command in the first place. Should not be. And again, it speaks to the old structure and the talk about succession planning. How can you talk about succession planning when you have all these senior people sit down there and go on leave? They're not being made to go on leave so that somebody can get the opportunity to act and to get experience. They don't have that, and that is part of the problem. The next thing too I want to tell these officers about, because as CC said, I am 70. CC is older than me by a year or two. When you get to a certain age, as I've said, the police work is a very stressful work. You have to take care of yourself. No one is going to take care of you if you can't take care of yourself. Take your medical checkups. Take your medical checkups, man and woman. Either your annual checkup or whatever. Take your checkup to know how the system working. You should know. You get, for women, you're going to get your mammogram and all those tests. Men, prostate. Women, men, colon, and women and men, colon, your blood sugar, your pressure, all of these things you should be doing regularly, and you know what your numbers are. But because the system, they don't have a welfare system in the force that takes care of those things. And that is a travesty. They don't take care of those things. Right? It's sad, you know. It's sad. It's sad. You have got to make sure you got to take care of you. You have got to take care of you. Let me tell you this, long since I was in the force, people tell you, I don't miss my doctor's appointment to check up and tell you that you're okay. Check your blood, check your pressure, check everything, your lipid profile, everything I used to do when it's required. And nobody is stopping me from doing that. I go in and check up me. You got to get a little exercise. You got to lose a few pounds. You got to know what to eat. It is very, very important, not only when you turn senior, but some people recommend that for the time you meet around 40, them things should be regular. And I would say earlier than that now, because so many younger people are passing out or falling out. But the force does not have a system, a proper welfare system to look after those things. You as the individuals have got to take care, because, you know, the culture in the force, if you say you're sick or you're not feeling well, they believe you're malingering. Not for them believe that. Oh, he's a lazy man. You're not feeling well. You know your body. You know your body. You're not feeling, nobody forced you to go and work. Because you know something? Let me tell you this before I bring in Mr. Conway. Rose has died, unfortunately. And you know, some people say, well, you're going to know unfortunate death. When your time comes for you to go, the Lord says, your time, you got to go. Right? When your time comes, Rose gone. They're going to find somebody, you know, who continue. So don't fool yourself and believe that you're this man who you're indispensable. No, the system is going to continue. Mightn't continue as good as it was with you. And for all you know, it might continue even better. So therefore, the responsibility is yours to make sure that you check up and that you're healthy and you keep going and you're all the number of young people I've seen that I know with prosthetics and one foot and all them tell them, they tell you sugar, you know, diabetes. You got to take care of yourself. These things in modern medicine in this time, these things can be managed. Even though some of them may not be, you can't cure them, they can be managed. But it's sad to see 55, the man, and the next thing I said, I'm bringing CC, I'm bringing, because this thing touched me a lot. I knew Rose very, very well. The next thing, officers, other ranks. I spoke about a letter that would have sent Rose, or he should have received 1 year before he retired, which should have been last year. Now, once you receive that, you can then make an application to the Ministry of Finance for an advance on your gratuity. They give you 2/3 advance on your gratuity. I discovered, to my utter disappointment and surprise, sometime last year, when I was telling someone, advise them, well, you're supposed to come off soon. But then they told me that the finance people told them that this facility where you get the advance on your gratuity is only for senior officers. I said, what? Why discriminate against others? I really thought it was everybody. That once you get to the stage where you're going to proceed into retirement, you get a 2/3 advance on your gratuity. So you can go and start doing whatever you got to do with it. That is locked in. Right? But I was made to understand that when I spoke to a rank who sought my advice, they said I went to the police finance office and they told them that facility is only for senior officers. These are some of the things that the police association should be fighting for. Why discriminate against if a man is an inspector, a sergeant, a corporal, or whoever? Because highly likely someone will get to the age of retirement as a constable. They get to them around. Why not afford them the privilege to have getting 2/3 of the gratuity a year out from their retirement? Those are some of the things ought to be fixed. And the police association should be championing this type of thing. There's a welfare issue, I see it as. So again, with this thing with Rose, real sad. Man celebrated or observed his 55th birthday on the 11th of July. According to the public service rules, he should have retired, gone into retirement on the 1st of August. I know that sometimes, it happened in 2006 when they had election, 2006, some people were kept back, kept back to be there for the election, make sure, and when the elections were over and things settle along, they go, right? But nobody can force you to stay, especially if you're not feeling well, nobody can force you to stay. When the time comes for you to go and leave, when the time comes for you to retire, folks, prepare yourself to retire. From the time you join the force, you should be working towards that. Make sure you try to get your home. Make sure you get a little thing somewhere. Qualify yourself so that you're marketable. But many people don't do that. And then you catch yourself 55 creep up on you. And then you realize, I can't do nothing else but this little policing work that they're doing. And therefore you're begging for stay on. A lot of them, you're begging for stay on. But how long are you going to stay on? You have got to prepare yourself. Because when you retire at whatever rank, at age 55, there's a facility that you can be employed in a special constabulary for the next 5 years. But I see now the old system gone crazy because as I know it, once you retire, whatever rank you retire with, at what rank you retire at, you want to come back in the special constabulary, you come back at a rank down. So if you retired as a superintendent, you're employed in the special constabulary if you have required skills as a deputy superintendent. I now see people retiring and getting promoted in the special constabulary. Never heard of before. The only people who came back in the special constabulary the same rank were the people who were in charge of the special constabulary. I remember people like Assistant Commissioner Reggie King, Assistant Commissioner James Austin, he came back. I think Mr. Scipio came back at the same rank because there's a vacancy for one assistant commissioner in the special constabulary. But I see now people coming back in the special constabulary and they get promoted and all. So it's a whole set of madness because you get people at the service commission and people at the admin in the force, they don't know what's going on. And these things are there. Many of them are written. Many of the rules are there and the precedents are there. But they're just, well, maybe you could say they're just done. Just done. Let me bring you CC. CC, let me hear you on the death of Raphael Rosenberg. I know that you knew him too.
Well, it shocked me, because I knew him since he was a little constable. I traced his development up to the rank of assistant commissioner, and we were good friends. And many times he consulted me. I remember when he was at Lagrange police station in charge of the West Bank there. He called me a day in relation to a couple of matters. He said, so you were commanded the division, and I'm asking your assistance, And I give him thing, and we stay in touch. And I recall after election was announced, he called me. He said, you got to prepare, you have to put out a plan preparation for election. And he said, you were commander of division. You knew Letem, and I Shalton, Karasabai, and you worked during election time. And he sought my advice. I gave him advice. For no matter, we spoke about 3 days before he died. And as you mentioned, Paul, there's no succession plan in the Guyana police force. None whatsoever. And even before that, you should have a career development plan. There's no career development plan that flows strictly into succession planning. You mentioned about the present commander in Division 4C, where they remove him, park him up in headquarters, and then they send him back there. And we had to with them with the killing of that 11-year-old girl. They transfer the commander to 4B and and bring the other one to West them. And then after people talk, as you were, they change back the thing. The thing is that they don't have no proper succession planning. And then, I mean, from what I heard, yeah, you send him in the dead of the night to go back to let them, because they said the president is going there. They could have made other arrangements. I remember I was Commando West them, and I get a Commando ENF division. And I recall I got a call 8 o'clock in the night that President Jack Deere going to Anai to hold some political meeting around Puto Valley. And I was in Georgetown. And I created hell. And they had to take off somebody on the flight and put me as the commander, because the commander got to go or no plane ain't going anywhere. That you, the commander, has got to be strong enough. And then even though you're twice even not there. But now if it's a presidential duty, you want the commander to be there, not the 2IC. And then you got to travel from Georgetown to Linden, to Marlboro, to Kubukari, sleep there the night, and then early morning catch the crossing and I had to let them. You know, they got to put proper systems in place, and they got to do good planning, as the case may be. If the command isn't there, the 2IC must be capable enough. I just got to talk about my command division, my command, because when I commanded ENF, Linden came under us. And I always remember I had my very good friend Wilton Trotsy. I was a senior super, he's a super Linden, my 2IC. And when I traveled in the interior, he used to come to Georgetown and run things, and there's always it used to happen. But the thing is that, you know, sometimes you got to look at the welfare of people. And just like our roads die. I remember the Army a couple of years ago had a situation where a few of their senior officers died suddenly. And Gary Best, who was the chief of staff, put system in place that it was mandatory that they get medical checkup once a year. They're mandatory that they get medical checkup. You know something? You look good on the outside, but you're not good in the inside. And you got to take your checks. You have to take your checks. The work is very stressful. And more so with this political interference in the job, it's very, very stressful. Therefore, you know, and I was reading I read a couple of years ago, and it's saying 85% of the illness in this world stress related. 85%. I know how true it is, but it is stress related. That most of the things are stress related. Stress will bring on a whole sort of thing there. You put in those midnight for go along through the trail there. I travel the trail regularly. I had a good driver, I think it was Daniel Corbin. I think he did one his thingy that used to take me all over the place. And as I always tease him, because I think we were going to Marlboro, but 3-something in the morning. And he said, Skipper, look at Labo, and going walking across the road. The Labo stroll across the road, and Corbin with the vehicle missed the Labo and had the temerity to come out and check. I said, you hear any sound? You know? But the thing is that you have to make proper planning, and also there might be emergency. Yes, if you get tonight for tomorrow morning. And let me share my time as commander. I always used to have my interior clothes pack up and ready. Pack up and ready to move. When I go in the interior, when I come back, my wife used to wash my clothes, and I used to do the ironing, because I didn't allow my wife to do that. Anything in the ironing was me. Iron the clothes, put it in the bag, so if you get a short notice, you pick up and you move. So it's sorry to hear what's happened to Rose, but I wish to express my deepest sympathy to his family, his friends, relatives. You know, it's very sad, you know, that suddenly a man who has not enjoyed any retirement benefits has gone his way. And they need to look at it. And they need to put systems in place. We talk about succession planning. We talk about career development. Give the 2IC work to do. Expose the 2IC so that when the command isn't there and there's an emergency, the 2IC can do it, and then the commander got to go in the dead of the night, say heading to let them there. No way. I think it wasn't properly planned. It wasn't properly structured. And I hope that they'll learn from this experience.
Well, some people will tell you that when the time comes for you to go, when we know that, you can't deny that when the time comes for you to go, you have to go. But when these things happen, we tend to reflect. Right? Because I don't know what the cause of death is. There's a lot of speculation. When people die suddenly like that, most time people say maybe it's an heart attack. But we don't know. I understand the PM was completed. I didn't hear anything from the police and so on. But let me say this. As Mr. Conway, CC of my brother said, stress is this a silent killer. Stress. You're taking on. I know some people just take on. Some people don't vent. It build up inside, like if they get a bank in there. Right? In life, that's why with health-related matters, says stress is a silent killer. Man, they is stressed out because you have people above you and even your peers who behave in a certain way, stressing you out. In finances, part of the thing that I attend over the weekend, they will tell you that inflation is a silent killer. Inflation. So it erodes the spending power of your dollar. Inflation. Stress is equally a silent killer. And it's even worse, not equal, it's worse. Because you're there, you're taking out, you can't sleep properly, and you don't know what is going on inside because you're not checking up. You look good on the outside, but problem inside. You have heart problem. You have that you're diabetes. You're so sweet, as the people say, sugar, diabetes, blood pressure. Those things are killers. But as I've said before, and let me repeat it, with modern medicine and all those things can be managed. They can be managed. You get diabetes, you get blood pressure, and whatever it is, it can be managed if you know what. Well, if you take care of yourself, go visit the doctor, get your medication, exercise can be. And I'm saying to the police in particular, many of them, you see some of them with some big stomach and all these type of things. Because they always tell you, see, a male with them type of big stomach and so on, they are candidate for coronary problems, heart problems, right? Comrades, you all check up yourself. They should make sure that they have a system in the force. I hope that one of the lessons they learned that would have been taught by this death of Rose is to make sure they have a system in place for all all the ranks, especially the senior ones, to have frequent checks. And as CC said, they should have a system where the police, welfare, take care of them thing for the people to go. You have a schedule. This man must go and get the check. This one, my routine check is normally on my birth month, this July month. I am due for follow-up, I think in October. Come on, check yourself. Please check yourself. Because at the end of the day, the work will go on. The job is going to go on. Rose pass out. You think the division set 9 that he was in charge of pause? You think them on any pause? No, it ain't there no pause. The work going on. And therefore, you need to make sure that you take care of yourself. And again, take your leave. Take your annualized vacation leave. Use the opportunity to relax. Manage your stress. If you like music, you don't manage stress by drinking liquor. You see a lot of people, sometimes you see them police officers, they're drinking. It's stress, trouble. The guys out of trouble. And they resort to the bottle to ease the trouble. They ain't going to do it. You resort to the bottle, you become an alcoholic. That is not going to eat. That might make matters worse. And a lot of people walking around, they pass the 40, they into the 50s, approaching retirement. They don't go to the doctor. They don't like go to the, well, whether you like it, Brenda is not liking it. If you like your life, you will find the time to go and get a check to know what's going on. Let me tell you a story. There was a policeman, when I call him, his family and them might be upset if they hear the name. Lovely boy, nice little boy, sitting around the place, chubby little boy and so on. Right? She always tease you and thing. Some years ago, I had not seen him for a while. And then I think I was at it was 2 I see at Brigham, the division. And I saw him in the compound. And when I saw him, I had to take some time to recognize him. The man looked emaciated. He looked, like we say, he looked mager, he looked thin. So I called him, I said, "Boy, come. What happened to you? How you look so thin?" He said, "You know." And I said, "Look," I caused him to go to Dr. Kasim, the police sergeant. I said, "Kasim right away." In them days, of course, you had AIDS and so on. So you're fear for the worst. He went to Kasim. When they do check, they buy diabetic. By diabetic, his numbers through the roof. He didn't know. So he eating the police mess and eating all the starches and all the sugars and all that thing. He killing himself slowly. And I called him. I would never ever forget. I said, "Call you, say, hey, you can't be in tongue and eating them food and so on. Where you from?" Told me you was from Bartica. Right? I said, "All right. You want to go back there?" He said, "Yes." I made an arrangement for him to go back to Bartica, where he can get family to cook for you and all these type of thing. And within a year, he passed out, you know. Far gone, within a year, he passed out. Yeah. So let me understand. Yeah, I know Wilmon said move on from the next subject. You're dictating what subject we're dealing with, because this is a very important subject, not even for policemen, but for all of us. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care, because no one is going to take care for you, especially in the police force. As I've said before, you're not feeling well and you decide a day you're going to call sick. You're going to say, "Oh, you're lazy and you don't want to walk," and all them things. You got to know your body. You have got to know your body. Right? So again, I would hope that one of the thing too, a lot of people then make preparation, you know, they make no preparation, so they ain't get will, they ain't get no trust, they ain't get nothing. And when they pass big problems, I'm not saying in this case, but I'm saying to you, you get assets, you have to make sure you put systems in place in case anything were to happen. You got to put systems in place in case you don't know when. You got to put systems in place. And that is part of the thing that I was on over the weekend, telling you put system in place. And I would be there to advise people what they should do and all this everything. Because you don't know when it will happen. You don't know when. Anyhow, well, let me move on to the other subject and to say this. I discovered over the weekend, right, that Kevin Larimer, you know Kevin Larimer, the PPP activist in Linden, sentenced to 9 months in prison by the magistrate for fraud. It was alleged, it's not alleged allegation longer, because he convicted that he taking people money to give them land and all this everything and they're not delivering. He was charged, he did not appear in court when the trial time, sentenced to 9 months in prison. The magistrate issued the commitment warrant. A commitment warrant is the warrant committing you to the prison. This is not an arrest warrant. It's a commitment warrant issued by the magistrate, sentencing Kevin Larimer to 9 months in prison. I think it's a month or so ago. Police then arrested him. They're right in Linden. Police then arrested him for him to serve his time at the Louisiana prison. Then eventually, he was arrested. He was arrested 3 or 4 Mondays ago. CARICOM Day. He was arrested just around then. Right? They arrested him the Monday afternoon. Monday was holiday, CARICOM Day. And he decided to carry to Louisiana prison the following day, the Tuesday. On the way to the prison, it is said that they got a call to abort the mission. So the mission is to take Larimer to the Louisiana prison as directed by the magistrate in a commitment warrant. So they turned back with he took him to Mackenzie police station there. While there, they say he claimed that he unwell. Take him to the hospital, all over the place hospital. I was inquiring, and my understanding is that as we speak, Larimer is no longer in the hospital. Larimer is no longer in police custody. Larimer is not at the Louisiana prison. Let me understand this, you know. Larimer, this PPP activist in Linden, sentenced to 9 months imprisonment for fraud. My investigation has revealed, as of now, over the weekend, he was no longer in hospital because he claimed some heart problem and they had him admitted in the hospital. He's no longer in hospital. He's no longer in police custody. and he's not at the Lusignan prison. So where is he? A man who is sentenced. So maybe he's out campaigning for the PPP. A lot of criminals campaigning for them. A lot of criminals, alleged criminals and all that, campaigning for them. Where is he? And you know, the same people, the Attorney General, he talks about the rule of law. He talks about all these things. And here it is, you have a man who is sentenced to imprisonment. As far as we are aware, no appeal or anything like that. So no court has intervened, no higher court has intervened to say, well, look, let me have a stay on this sentence. So his rightful place is at the Lusignan prison. But he has not been taken to the prison. Police attempted to do so. And again, I say weak policemen. Because in my day, and the training is, you get a commitment warrant from the magistrate, no police commissioner, no government official calling the police. He's the one that got to call the prison, because I would have ensured that he was handed over to the authorities of the prison. So any engagement, they have to engage the prison. The police would have been out of that, because all the role of the police was to arrest him and to take him to the Lusignan prison. But the man ain't got to, my understanding is he ain't got to Lusignan prison. He's not in police custody. He's not at the hospital. So where is he? He's out in the home campaigning for the PPP. That is what you have. And you talk about rule of law. The animal farm is an animal farm. So Kevin Larimer is above the law. And I guess that is why many of them, when you look, some of them will run towards the PPP in recent times. That's the type of protection they want. Because they know that once you are overtly supportive of the PPP, you get all the coverage you want. You can get rape allegation that you bugger teenagers and all this everything against you, theft, fraud, allegation that you assault your wife, you beat your wife, and all this other thing, thing and lash it, and nothing can happen to you. Nothing is going to happen. But the ordinary man, cost or something like that, lock up 72 hours. That is what you have. That is what you have. Somebody tell me the prison. But I don't know if the sentence starts when you report to the prison. I think the sentence starts from the day of the conviction. From the day the magistrate say you're convicted and sentenced to 9 months in prison. That I think that is when it starts. I can be wrong, but I believe that is when the sentence starts. When you are convicted, right? When you are convicted, that is the time the sentence starts. Right? So Kevin Larimer, another PPP supporter, is above the law. Sentenced to 9 months imprisonment, has not spent a single day or a single minute in the prison just for. And you tell me these are the people you want to govern you? With this discriminatory practice and so on? And as I've said, that's why a lot of them people gravitate into them. People gravitate into them. All sort of thing, yeah, more than all sort of thing. Look at the Adriana Young case. People accused of murder. Cover up. Police involved in the cover up. Police, and why? Because the people who are suspected to be involved in this thing are supporters of the PPP. So once you support PPP, I guess that is why enough of them run in there. Come on, support PPP, you can be the biggest criminal, right? Them a criminal, you know, the man that says so, them a criminal. You can be the biggest criminal and nothing will happen to you. Let me bring in CC to make his comment on this, and then we're going to move again. CC, Larimer still has not been taken to the prison.
Well, I won't be surprised, you know. I will not be surprised if he's elsewhere, maybe campaigning, or even he campaigning in full. I won't be surprised, because the rule of law is for certain people, you know. But according to the law, is that Larimer should have been at the prison to serve his sentence. And I know people who get sentenced and they took them to prison and they spend most of the times in the infirmary or in the Georgetown Hospital. That's where they spend most of the time, you know. But instead of the police, you carry at the hospital treat him and send him away. Next thing is the prison you got to go. Hey, we come to town and check more the Georgetown Hospital. And instead of they're moving east, which is closer, they're gone south tilting with him. So I won't be surprised because here political interference with the police, and we don't have strong commanders. Well, let me get a strong commissioner too, or a strong operation man, as the case may be. So all kind of things will happen. I'm not surprised, Paul.
Yeah, neither am I. Neither am I. But let me say this: we talk about this political interference. There's an incident over the weekend at Denamsel, I think it was, where a man there, I can't remember his name now, says that let me get the article here, right? The man claimed Clayton Jacobs. He live at Old Road Denamsel. His story is that some people were sharing PPP T-shirt, and the man attempted to come in the yard to give a T-shirt. I tell you, you're disrespectful. You know I'm a strong APNU supporter. There's an opposition supporter. I come in the yard and he must cuss them and he chase them and so on. And they went and they made a report to the police station at the Namsel. Police sent out 3 ranks, according to the video that I saw, to arrest this man, Clayton Jacobs. Police went to arrest him because the PPP people who sharing T-shirt must have made some report to the station. Either he was threatening them or he abusive to them or whatever it is. Police, let me show you all this video with the police. It's not long. Police are there to arrest Mr. Jacobs. Hold on. You're going to see it for yourself. Police are there to arrest Mr. Jacobs here. Look at it carefully. Look. Well, you can't air the exchange, but based on what is being said, the day before or, well, whenever the men went there, Jacobs might have been used a lot of expletives. He might have even threatened them, don't come in the yard or it's what's going to happen and all this everything. Then one man videoing the person, videoing, he must be threatening the person and all of that. Because I saw, I think his lawyer, Dr. Dexter Todd, and him, they made a, after he was released, he gave a statement, he gave a media interview outlining what took place and so on. And then sometime today, I see the, seemed like the people threw up some video and said this is why he was arrested. And saw him in his yard, cussing and he thing in there and so on. But let me say this to these policemen. Let me say this to the policemen. Let's assume, for argument's sake, that this man, Jacob, lied. Right? Because it is clear that they did go there. It would appear as though the evidence suggests that these people went there to offer him short. Some people short and he refused. But he carry on. Don't come in with so-and-so yard and there's a cuss and all something. Somebody come make a report about that at the station. The first thing, did they take statement? Did they investigate this matter? It's just so you're going and arrest this man? On what grounds you're going to arrest this man? A report is made. One would expect that you're going to take statements, not plural, statements, because if it's the one man say, well, this man threatened me, and the man used abusive language to me and so on, that is not sufficient for you to act. You have got to investigate. You have got to get statements from the people to cooperate and to support what is done. Right? Support. And a matter like arrest. Arrest. You invite him to the station. He must come to the station. If he even when he refuses to come, given the nature, the minor nature of the allegation, you might not even want to. First of all, depending on the circumstances, you might advise the person who's making the report to take private action against this man. I said the man cussed me, the man abused me, or whatever. Private action. In many cases, private action. Now, if you want to take police action based on the statements you get with support, you can proceed by way of summons. You can proceed by way of summons. There might be no need to arrest this man. This is not a big thing offense. Because again, if you were doing an investigation, the same tape that surfaced today or whenever it surfaced, you would have seen that the man there in the yard and the man was there, don't come in me so and so yard, don't come for me bridge or come off me bridge, something like that. And for that, you are arresting this man. And that is a problem that you have. That is part of the problem because you get PPP people doing worse than that. There was an incident on the quarantine where a woman, Jaffarali, I think is her last name, assaulted one of the men who was there with the WIN team, also the Mohammed team, on the quarantine. She assaulted the man. Them on video, she assaulted the man. Then when that was done, she ran to the station and she made a report. And when she made the report at the station, the police arrested the man who was assaulted. She made a report, she assaulted the man. The thing was captured on video. And then when she done assault the man, she ran to the police station and make a report. And the police, without conducting any proper investigation, arrested that man, had him in custody, thing, spent some time in the lockup. And then when the dude look at the tape now, they saw that she was the aggressor and she assaulted the man. Then they released the man. What I'm saying is bad police work. That is not how the police are supposed to work. Somebody come here, people can make a report. You have an obligation to entertain the report. But then before you go further, you have to investigate. The reporter has to be made to give a statement. If they complain about injuries, they have to be taken to the doctor, escorted to the doctor, not sent to the doctor, escorted to the doctor to get a medical certificate. And when you're satisfied, especially you talk about assault, you talk about threat in particular. Who witnessed, who heard? You got to get a statement from them to corroborate. It's not only, this body said this man threatened me, and then you run there now and say you're arresting and you're charging. They ain't going no place. You're only wasting time. Get statements from all those who have been there. Get statements. We had a case where was the same man we named Hamir Ahmad make some report against Dr. Terence Campbell. And we threatened you over the phone and all them type of thing. And the police advised Campbell and McInnes, threaten over phone? A man threaten you over phone? Have you investigated to confirm that some call was made? Who can give this evidence to say that this man, even if you have evidence that the call was made to, from one number to the next number, how are you going to prove that in a court of law? Oh, and a matter like that, again, we say private action, man. Take private action. But this politicized police force, this weaponized police force, one time a PPP man will make a report, right? They are instructed to arrest and detain and all of that. That is what is happening. And long ago, a couple of months ago, we pointed out that in this silly season, police need to make sure that they do what the law requires. You can make sure you appear to be impartial, even-handed. But that don't happen now. That ain't happening. This incident over the weekend here is an example of that. Example. Well, then he's asking how you could threaten a man over phone. How you could caution a man over phone. Then he's, as you want to get wicked, you're asking me, how can you threaten someone with the phone? So how did the man in charge of the OPR said in court on the oath that he cautioned Boscom over the phone? He said so in court. So all started thing happening now. So I guess if you can caution a man over phone, you can also threaten over phone and all of that. That is what is going on. That is what is going on. So you can caution a man. Well, I know after the caution, the action that follows is arrest. So if you can caution a man over the phone, then logically you ought to be able to arrest him over the phone as well. Right? But it's sheer madness. And at the end of the day, I warn him, you're doing this program so the younger policemen could understand. The younger policemen could understand because many of them are giving instructions and they blindly follow those instructions. But come, let me tell you something. You can't be compelled to carry out an unlawful order because they're going to throw you under the bus. You see that a policeman, 25 years you get for killing Boston, 25. And they just throw you under the bus. He wasn't even represented at a manslaughter trial. They did not even assist him in providing legal representation. So he ended up getting 25 years in prison. Right? And I saw an article, we're going to deal with that the next day, because the people, apparently the DPP's chamber, had recommended to the judge a lower sentence. And there was yesterday or someday, there's an article in Smuggling News, said the DPP up to now, they can't explain to the public why they wanted a lesser sentence. The judge rejected that and pointed out all the aggravating circumstances. Sentenced the policeman to 25 years. 25 years in prison. You cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. And if you do, they're going to throw you under the bus. So I'm saying to you, proper policing. A report is made at the station, threats, indecent language, assault. Take statement, or you take a statement from the reporter, you entertain the report. You are compelled, you're obliged to take the report, make an occurrence of what took place. Then you're going to ask questions. Who else were there? Can you looking to get corroboration? No one man come and tell this man check me, and then you also will say arrest and charge. You have to have corroboration. And there are certain elements that have to be brought out in the statement. The fact that he was threatening, what were the words he used? He just threatened me. What you do? What he tell you? Is this threatening behavior? Is this threatening language? What did the person do? You say the man threatened me. What did he do to the threat? How did you feel when these words were used or the gestures were used? How did you feel? You have got to make sure that that is taken and the record reflect. Because if the man say, look, the man, as this case say, I saw a part of the tape, the man tell, if you come in my yard, I told y'all the same thing with Nazar Mohammed and Critic. Once a person put this condition to it, if you do this, I will do that. It's difficult to prove that this man threatened you. Right? I said, if you come in my yard, I can beat you up or whatever. If you come in, all you have to do is go in my yard. All you have to do is not to go in my yard. But political directions, and again, you have commanders at senior levels, divisional and branch and station command, people in station command. I guess they don't know better. Or even if they know, they just decide to go along and do the wrong thing. And you know why that happens? In many cases, because people take it. They don't go to court to seek redress. People take it. And that is part of the problem. Let me bring in CC to obviously on this matter. CC, this matter with this man, we saw I saw the video there and the explanation. Your views?
Many times the police are too quick to make an arrest. You've got to investigate. And in making arrests, you got to work in accordance with the section 6.1 of the Police Act. I won't go into it there. That you need to investigate. And in this silly season, you got to be careful. You got to be sensitive, because this look like APNU versus PPP. And in matters like those who come up there, sometimes you look for independent witness, not a witness of convenience, but look for independent witness. You got to investigate first before you think it. And then they watch 3 police. They said they shot the police. 3 police, including a traffic rank. Gone to the man home there. So, for me, police, in many cases, too quick to make arrests. You got to get a statement. Did they get any statement? Because the last time if we make the arrest, the person making the complaint must enter into a recognizance to prosecute the person. Did they get a statement, or they just take the word of mouth and they say, hey, yeah, I'm going to buy this thing, look bad. This is PPP thing there. This is the political thing that we're going to arrest him on. I don't know the facts, the circumstances there. I didn't know the words that he uttered, but feel that before they go jump and make an arrest, they should have done a proper investigation. Investigate. So you arm yourself with the statement. This is the statement where I got a signed statement by the person. And then what's the threat? Was the man afraid? What's the threat? What's the abusive language? I don't know. I didn't hear it on the tape that I think there. So I'm saying in many instances, we too police too quick to make an arrest. And if you're gonna arrest without a warrant, you gotta be guided by section 16.1 of the Police Act.
Yeah, and again, we got to emphasize, reports are going to be made at stations. Report abusive language, threatening behavior. Yeah, you, the police, have got to entertain the report. Take the report. Make an occurrence in the occurrence book. Write up the necessary column. Once it's done, you don't have grounds to say you're going to arrest nobody. You don't have any coverage to address. Take statement from the person who is making the report. During the course of that statement, you'll have to find out if, as Ms. Cici said, you're looking for independent witnesses. Independent, because 3 or 4 of them might be in the vehicle in this case. Those are in there are not independent witnesses. They're likely to support whatever allegation is being made. So you've got to go further than that. And at the end of the day, if there are no independent witnesses, you might very well say, well, look, as we just say, a car, private action advised. Private action by way of summons, if you so desire. That is what would have been done. And then if you get to the stage where as somebody suggested here, all right, you feel that maybe it's the prima facie, you invite the man to the station. You invite him to the station, you put the allegation to him, maybe you have a confrontation, the man said no. And then, again, there's no need for you to lock up somebody for something like that unless you're going to feel that the offense is likely to continue or it involves violence and all of that. And obviously, because it's been reported that at the end of the day, sometime yesterday, the man was sent away on his own recognizance, meaning not to lodge no money, to come back at some stage. Man was sent away on his own recognizance, so it can't be no serious matter. And you're looking 3 policemen, and people complain the same division about domestic violence and all that. The same man made some allegations about calling the police in relation to that. They're coming, and that is the type of command you have in these divisions. That's why people can't get respect for the police. People can't have respect for the police because they are being perceived as taking political directions. Why are you going to this man, 3 policemen, to say you're arresting him because somebody make a report that he threatened them and so on? Why? Why are you doing that? But as we pointed out, in this silly season, more like that can happen. I refer to the Borbies matter with this lady Zafar Ali, and you go, she assaulted the man, and then she ran to the police station, no investigation, gotta get a sailor commander there. But they arrest the man who was assaulted. They arrest the man who was assaulted. And you know what? When they discover that he was the one who was assaulted by this woman, we are not aware that they did anything to her, making a false report or anything. They're not because she's a PPP supporter. That is what you have. And you believe people are going to respect the police? People are not going to respect the police. And which brings me to another matter. We reported here some days ago that there was a traffic controller who met into some car accident. Car police says an incident. They say they're driving around some part of the Heroes Highway, and there was some plank in the road. The plank fly up, he get injured, he died sometime after at the hospital. I am reading today that the traffic chief said that the death was senseless. He said the death was senseless. Here, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I know they listen. And the traffic chief making a senseless statement, because he says, following the death of a senior air traffic controller, Trevor Lloyd Daly, on July 13th at the Georgetown Public Hospital, 3 days after he collided with a plank on the Heroes Highway, East Bank Demerara. Police said that this section of the road had not yet been commissioned for public use, and Daly was not supposed to be using that section. The incident occurred on July 10. Assistant Commissioner Mahendra Singh told Stabrook News via telephone that he was aware of the incident and described it as senseless. And the quoting here now, somehow to me, it was a senseless thing because we keep preaching to members of the public, drive on the road that are open for use, end of quote, he said. Now, Mr. Traffic Chief, that is a senseless statement because if the road is not open to use by the public, how come this man had access to that portion? Let me ask you that. That to me, the Traffic Chief, Mahendra Singh, the statement that you made is a senseless statement. Because the road, if the construction of that section of the road is not complete, no one should have access. They should have physical barriers, properly illuminated if it's in the night and so on, so nobody can drive there. But you can't have it where a member of the public drives a car there now, and you're blaming me to say, well, that section of the road was open, so he should not have been driving there. You, the police, and the people who were constructing the road should have ensured that there were physical barriers to prevent any vehicle from accessing that part of the road. And, again, I hope that the family and them deal with this matter, Carry them to court, man. Carry the contractors and the government to court. Because if it is, as he is saying, that's how they sell themselves, he is saying that section of the road was not open for public use. That is what the traffic chief is telling us. So pray, tell me, how come this vehicle with this gentleman, Mr. Daly, had access to it? How come that this vehicle could have had access where the man hit some plank, the plank thing, the man dead now? How come? It would have been the responsibility of the contractors and the police to make sure that barriers are put to prevent vehicles from accessing the part. Obviously, then they get plank across the road and that sort of thing. You want to blame the man for driving there when the thing was open, easy access? You want to suggest to us that he perhaps removed whatever barrier was there and drove in that section on the road? That is what you want to suggest to us, Traffic Chief? The statement that you made there is a senseless statement. Because if, as you claim, that road was open, supposed to get signs, supposed to get physical barriers so that nobody can drive past a certain point because it is not open to for use by the public. But for come and tell Stabrook News that try to blame the victim now. Try to blame the victim that he should not have been driving there because the road ain't open for use. It's a senseless statement. It is senseless, and that is why you have all the carnage on the road. Because you have people who are in charge of these areas who are senseless and make senseless statements. Well, if they're senseless, they got to make senseless statement. Because you can't expect someone who is senseless to make a statement with sense. So when I read this thing, I was so upset. I was so upset. And you see it all over. You see it all over the place. Some construction going on, no proper traffic control. I remember some years ago, I took a picture and posted it with the Christchurch school when during the part of the reconstruction. The people, the contractors, took 2 benches from the school, and that's where they blocked the road with Middle Street. Between Waterloo and Camp Street. They just put 2 bench to block the carriageway. They block the carriageway. That's the type of lawlessness that is going on. And the traffic chief coming to tell us now that when they're blaming the man, he should not have been driving there. They're blaming that man. The road wasn't open for public use, so he should not have been driving there. That is what he's telling us. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to obviously. CC, I'm sure you would have seen that, Mark. You don't miss much.
Yeah, I read the statement, and like you, I say senseless. But if it was another forum, I would have used word that the traffic chief is familiar with to describe this is senseless. If the road is not there for the public to use, close it and put up proper barriers. And if it doesn't go into the night time, put up lights. That's what you gotta do. And then for the way I read in a report, they say you know about it 4 days afterward. A man got seriously injured hospitalized. Well, they might say an incident is not an accident, and the police will know 4 days afterward. Something is wrong with the police. That 4 days afterward, then they can't read, then anyway, but it, nobody reporting, nobody in checking the places, case may be. Yeah? The road is closed, it's not open to the public. Close it properly, and you're closing it halfway. Fully close it, sir. Close it and put on lights there that to people, and for the matter, you should put in a warning sign long before you reach there, saying that this thing is not accessible. Put in, let people know. The public must know. But then like one said, is a incident, so they blame the man. So they when they go make up the stats, they're gonna take that as an incident. They won't take that as a fatal accident. But when I've done, it's a road, and then be saying, and not only there, all about the places you might get, you don't have access. Block it off. And I remember the Christchurch thing when I put 2 benches. I remember that. And after you wrote, they come to the senses, But when you are incompetent and you try your incompetent best, you are still incompetent.
Yeah. But again, I don't. Well, you should not comment, because you should have told them that it's not an accident. You should have said, well, according to our classification, there is not an accident. So even though it occurred on the road, there's not an accident. Talk to the commander or something like that. That might have been a more appropriate response. Because so the traffic chief to come and tell people, oh, this and the part and open yet, and therefore suggesting, therefore the man should not have been driving there. What measures were put in place to ensure that people don't drive there? What measures was put in place? Do you have signs? No entry? Is it you have and even you put no entry sign, as I said, you have to put physical barriers to physically prevent vehicles from going beyond a certain part, because that part is not open as yet, with all the necessary signs, all the necessary lights and so on. And a student is asking the question here. One man suggests that I agree with you. The Ghana Police Force needs an independent union, and there's something they should deal with. The Ghana Police Force, according to the law, the Police Act 1601, they make provision for the police association to represent the interests of policemen, from constables to inspector, right? But police can join union, and that too, people have said should be challenged. Ghana Police Force can join union. So whereas in Trinidad and other places, they are parts of trade union, and the trade union can represent the interests of the ranks. Police can join trade union. They have the police association, some for years now. And let me tell you, some constable to inspector, chief inspector, that is what the police association represent. From the time you pass that level, cadet officer, all the way up, there's no representation. There is what used to be the Association of Police Officers. At one time, I was the chair of that association, but it was never legal. When I was chair, the late Pablo Yewood, 6690, Reginald Yewood, was my secretary for some states, and we were advocating for the Police Act to be amended. The same part, the same section that caters for the police association, so there should be amendment there for this the Association of Senior Police Officers to be catered for, because they need representation too. They need representation. All the ranks need representation, but that is what it is. Maybe that is why they can ride roughshod over police ranks, because you can't join union. You can't. In this modern age, all of those things need to be looked at. And even with the police association, the mandate is very limited. They can't talk about promotion and all them everything. They talk about welfare issues. The law spells out what they can talk about. The law spells out. And what happening now? Let me understand what is happening now. But people get into the police association. The police association plays a critical role in recommending persons to be on the police service commission. And therefore, those, when they are put there, the government now influence who are put on the police association. And those people are instructed as to the names to be sent to Parliament for consideration to be members of the Police Service Commission. I know that. That is what happens. And then what happens there? They are rewarded with promotion. Every single member of the police association that recommended this service commission, every single one, I understand, they was promoted. Every single one promoted. The man who was the head was Prem. He was inspector. And I said you can only be up to inspector. Then he was promoted from inspector to superintendent. So he was no longer in the police association. That is what's going on. They're going there to look after themselves. They don't care about the other people and the interests and all of the other ranks. They look after themselves. They get the promotion to inspector. And then later on, maybe they get officer. They drop out of the association. That is what is going on. That is what is going on. And then a question is asked here by a student. If someone entered my yard and I asked them to leave in whatever language, have I committed an offense? It depends on a lot of things. Man come in your yard. The man is trespassing. He is committing a criminal offense of trespassing. Come in your yard, you tell him leave in whatever language you want to tell him, right? Even if you try to use force to get him out, you might be justified. He has no right to be in your yard. Has no right. And again, if he goes now to make a report to the police station, the investigation will reveal all of that. He came into your yard uninvited. Uninvited. And therefore, you have every right to put him out of your yard. It's your property. And again, it has to do with whether the property was fenced. And there's a lot of things. It's not just straightforward. But I'm giving a general overview. Whether the yard was fenced, whether it had a gate, whether the gate was locked. Another gate like Habib Khan gate. Because Habib Khan get a gate and the yard has no fence. Habib Khan, the late comedian, he got a big gate with padlock, but the yard and fence. Right? So I'm talking about that. Talking about properly fenced yard and gate. All of those things would have been taken into consideration. All of those things. Right? All of those things. But I'm sure CC wanted to say something about the police association and the union in response to the comment by the student. CC?
You preempted me, man. I remember, I think it was 92, when I had my groundings with my brothers in Jamaica. I think Dudley should know this. Where they were fighting, the police were fighting for a raise of salary. And they took Ushiro, a former prime minister, and a union leader to represent their cause. And the government ball. And they ended up in court. Because and the judge ruled that Ushiro was coming there not as a union leader. He's going there in his private capacity. And then I think the judge say, it's just like if I get sick and you tell me which doctor must take. And he fought the case. And I think they got nearly about 100% across the board with the salary and allowances and things and so on. And when I went back at the time when they were drawing their money, and I can't remember drinking so much of red stripe beer and eating jog pork and jog chicken, you know. So that was an interesting one where they took Ushiro, who was a union leader, who was former prime minister, to represent the police association there. And the judge ruled that he was coming in his private capacity. He wasn't coming there as no union leader. And he was able to advance the case for the police. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. So maybe there's something that they're going to consider. Let me move in. Time really flying this afternoon, though. Well, we spent a lot of time that we had to talk about the sudden death of Assistant Commissioner Rose and advise them how the thing should be dealt with. Now, that's a Guyana is not a real place. Guyana is not a real place. And we have been talking repeatedly about these mushrooming private security companies all over the place is a private security. And the question always arose as to whatever background check, whatever training these people are doing. Almost every week, there are multiple incidents with security people. Now, the one, I guess, that beat the second all is over the week we see this viral video on social media with what they allege is a security guard and a porter having sex in the elevator. The elevator. They might do the thing in the elevator. My God, so shameful. And the ministry issued a statement to say that they basically said they are responsible, the Ministry of Health. Gotta say the security is a private contracted for company and all of that. And then, I think they dismissed both of them. Well, couldn't be the ministry dismiss the security if they're claiming the security is attached to a private company. But to see what type of people they're recruiting into these security services, what type of people on the job, in the elevator, and they're so daft and so out of it that they know the elevator. Actually, they didn't know the elevator got CCTV camera. The security didn't know that there's a CCTV camera in the elevator, so they decide they're gonna get it on in the elevator, and then somebody opened the elevator. So you look at the image for us. It took some time to make out what was going on, because the place dark, the CCTV rolling, so it's a black and white thing. So when the elevator door bust open, the thing turned colored now. Oh my Lord. That is what's going on. The security having sex in the elevator. I still haven't worked out yet whether the security is the male or the female. And when we say having sex, we talk about a male and a female. In the elevator at the workplace, they're having sex. In there. That is where standards have gone to. You get a minister accused of rape in the open swan. It's all sort of craziness going on. And those things, again, I say, these private security companies, most of them are out of control. You know, long ago, you had some private security companies, Professional Guard Service, GEB, and all of those places. They were reputable security services. Reputable. Dougal Kirkpatrick, this other guy, Maurice Amores. They call name. Those people ran proper security services. But in recent years, there has been this influx. Everybody setting up a security service. Everybody getting all sort of guns and all sort of things for these security services. They're taking on any and everybody in the security services. Look, you had the one, don't forget the one a couple of weeks ago, where the security guard at the casino in the Giffland Mall, he stick up them and rob them of 13-point-something million. The security guard fire shot all in the place and rob them. And what happened? They have not taken away, I'm not aware they have taken away the license from that security company, because they should not be operating. You recruiting people like that. What type of background check? This one that the hospital employ, the company, if the company employing people like that to go and have sex on the job, they should find a new company. But then I suspect that the company might be owned by a friend, family, or favorite. So they ain't going to do that. And then look, the one, well, according to one of the reports, Sheriff is not a security company. Sheriff, they say, is look like a private militia. Sheriff is a private militia. Look, the one that is making the wrongs or made the wrongs over the weekend. This is supposed to be a sheriff security guard. Look at it.
Oh no, Guyana, we there. Hey, yo, Jesse! One breath. Hey, yo! Jesse, tell them now. You wear some shitty slang now? Renzo, tell them! Renzo! Pick up all the day one dogs. Pick up the killing them.
You sounded to yourself. The security guard, sheriff security guard. The man look like he eye on something. The man got shotgun. Man cock the shotgun and squeeze the trigger and seem surprised when the shotgun went off. He seemed surprised when the shotgun. Sheriff security, sheriff militia. Sheriff militia. That is what you have happening in the place, and there's only one. You have had, if you check back, so many incidents in recent times with these security companies, so many incidents in recent times. Right? So many. I see one, the man shoot the foot and all them type of thing. That is what, and nothing is going to happen to those companies, you know, nothing. Nothing, because they are aligned to the government. They are aligned to the government. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to make a comment. And I told you, I am pleasantly surprised that I was able to make it through onto this time. So, CC, your comment and your closing at the same time, my brother. Go ahead.
Not only aligned to the government, you know, but aligned to the commissioner. Remember 8.5? And there was only one issue, a wedding. What happened to the rest? And it wasn't for he, it was for Brutus. You know, that if they're going to pay the money, they get preferential treatment. And then them security don't get training. Like first thing, they ain't wearing the uniform, the proper uniform. And the uniform, they're supposed to get a badge, an identity badge around them. Look at them. Look at him, but they're just taking on people because they get a contract and they're taking on people. And now let me move off of the, you know, Region 1. And I was going to talk about Region 1. How is it that police in Region 1 supplying or selling fuel to the police in Region 1 and fuel that's smuggled from Venezuela? The police in Region 1 selling fuel to the police in Region 1, smuggle fuel from Venezuela. And here recently, the man who doing the business there, the man who doing the business there bought a bigger boat so that more stuff could come. And I hear remember that also men who were catching crab with a whole set of cocaine, they declare some and they left back some. I hear the ones that left back, they sell them. They sell them to a man at charity. But nothing going to come about it. You're not going to hear anything about it. I don't hear anything about the financial irregularities. We had Region 8. This is somebody who had more than 2 persons committed suicide. You don't hear nothing more. Story done there. You know. So many things happening. So many things happening, you know. That, you know, they need to do proper investigation. Financial irregularity, region number 6, region number 8. And they're not doing anything. Financial irregularity in the police finance office. Financial irregularity in the police quartermaster store. Brutus gone, but it continue. Brutus gone, but it continue. It's still happening. May God help the guy in the police force.
Yeah, we need divine intervention. And as I've said, in this silly season, they're jumping out and they say all manner of things and all manner of things. I got a picture to show you all, man. 00 not license to Link Batty. He went on some place recently, things they said, let him. Look, the man talking to the people. Look the condition. The man said, here, they said this is 00 not. Talking to people, tell them about all the progress. And look how he stand up, look the road and things. These people shameless, you know. These people have no shame. And well, they sent him there. They sent nobody else. They sent either for talk to these people. I saw next on a little video this midday. The man talking to some of our indigenous brothers. It's a whole set of little picnic. They're wrong there. A whole set of little picnic. But born on them people, them don't get no shame, man. They are shameless. So they put on, you know, you gotta understand who these people are, you know. I know James Bond, the attorney. When I was commander in Borbies in 2000, I went into, I think around 2001, around them time, he came to Borbies as the state prosecutor. Right? He was in Borbies as the state prosecutor. And them lies used to make joke. He was young then. I used to make joke. I remember the same Muchubakas who died recently. He used to say, hey, if you can't win a case in the High Court, now you will never ever win a case in the Bobby's High Court. They make joke off. Well, I guess he was young, inexperienced, and so on around that time. Then the man was big in the PNC. You gotta let people know, you know, he was big in the PNC, so much so that he challenged for the leadership one year. He challenged for the leadership of the People's National Congress. He was there in the front line when it is alleged that Watts and some other policemen shot at E. and Eddie Collins. The video is there. He just shoot in the back with pellets and all them type of thing. We saw not so long ago, he became known as the umbrella boy. The same Azuddin Mohammed who they vilify now, he hold an umbrella for Azuddin walk through Melanie or somewhere there. Right? And then he come now, he turned PVP. The man just looking for a place in the sun. You know the type of character they are. He is looking for a place in the sun. He must have been promised something. So he's looking for a place. So they ain't got no conscience. They ain't got no political affiliation. They ain't got no political loyalty. Nothing like that. They're looking for a place. I guess, I understand he gets some matters before the court in some land. So I guess he would have realized that once you align yourself to the PPP, matters can go out the road, go down the drain just like that. Maybe that is why. Maybe that is why. And let me show you this other one here, this tape. This one, I have not showed you this one for some time. When we talk about corruption, they talk about corruption. I see Jack Dio saying that attacking Azuddin Mohammed as a corrupt and all them type of thing they talk. You know, again, I say, they will tell you, right, that Azuddin Mohammed and the Win Party is not a threat to them, but they can't stop talking about him. I wonder why. They can't stop talking. But when you start to talk about corruption, and I see the talking about us, you know, they must remember this one.
With our access to cash secured, we moved forward with the deal. As a final step, Sue took our colleague, Mr. Chan, next door to meet the Vice President himself.
Thank you so much for seeing me.
Yeah, please have a seat.
Jagdo avoided talking specifics, but told us how close he is to Sue.
Do you understand our deal in detail?
I'm not getting involved in business. You get the support. Sue's my friend, he gets all the support.
We have to be clear about all the agreements.
Sue deals with all the agreements. I don't.
I understand.
The thing is that my thing is that I'm in government.
I understand.
So I assist from government side.
I know.
That's it.
Sue interjected, telling Mr. Chan this wasn't the place to talk about the bribe.
因為佢由頭都係啦，即係我要知道，即係啲錢係入佢嗰度先得㗎。如果唔係 ，Okay, thank you so much for giving me time. I hope I can see you again.
Yes,
thank you.
definitely.
佢隻手永遠係好乾淨，唔好話呢啲石油公司咁大筆數嘅，都唔係少少幾千萬美金，喐水電站咁，佢嗌我跟，佢唔會講。
Personal profit isn't the only thing at stake here. China's expansion in South America has set off a large...
Yeah, that's part of the Vice News tape. Part of the Vice News tape. That place there where you see that interaction took place is the Vice President living room at Pradoville 2. His living room. So Sue Jerome is tenant. For the first time I learned that he get place he renting. He rent some place that Sue Jerome. Sue Jerome took these people, these Chinese, who posed, they were from Vice News, but they posed as businessmen seeking to get business done in Guyana. Sue had the privilege to take them into the Vice President's living room. I want y'all to think about that. And they're talking about corruption, living room. And as we are there, when it's not a people, man, the Vice President Bar Jack, they will tell the thing up on tape that Sue look after the part that side of the business. And I asked a question, and many people have asked, what type of business Sue looking after? Sue is supposed to be a private citizen. What business is he looking after? He in government, and he get things done from the government part. And the allegation is that $500,000 have to pass for the Chinese people to get contract. There's the allegation. Never investigated. Never investigated. And y'all remember this one? Y'all remember this part? Look.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Zhurong?
Sue. Oh, Sue. My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims.
Sue, look, let me tell you something. I celebrated my 70th birthday yesterday. Oh, Lord, it's go good to be 70. I hope that can be wrong for next 70. For see these people, what will become of them? Corrupt, dishonest, lie off the top of the head, like a coward trot. And they're the ones who look to people and call them, oh, them a criminal and all of that. A serious allegation like that made against the vice president, the man who is the de facto head of this country. No investigation, none. If you are so innocent, you have all the authority of all the power. Calling some reputable thing. I know that I never did that. They are telling lies. I call in the FBI, I call in Scotland Yard, I call in Mounted Police, I call in some reputable government organization. Because I know I did not do anything wrong and I want my name to be cleared. Never. Why? Oh, he ran off for the Su. He sued for why it was 50. I can't remember the exact amount, 50,000 or whatever it was, US, 10 million, whatever it was. He sued. And I said, up to now, I don't think they can find Sue, even though people say that Sue's still around. Very much involved in what's going on. He can't find Sue. So what's going to happen? You're going to get the final judgment, no doubt. Because no defense will be led, and he can get the final judgment. But does that clear his name? Will that clear his name about this serious allegation? That he takes $500,000? And again, he says an allegation, but in a well-organized and a properly functioning country, there would have been a clamor. Perhaps even before the clamor, they would have decided, the government would have decided, the vice president would have said, no, let me get this investigation to clear my name. Because this is never ever any investigation to clear that. No COI, nothing. And he'd sit there and tell people that, you know all who is criminal, you know who live in basement, you know all of these things. And I have said repeatedly, students, you will bear me out here, that when you look at that tape, I am sure that the people who deal with body language, the people who are behavioral science oriented, I'm talking about people in the other governments, they would have analyzed that tape. And they would have put up a big report to say whether there was guilt or innocence based on what they see. They got people trained in that area. They are trained. They could look at that body language and look, Sue, my relationship, and they would have come to a conclusion. I am not trained in that area, but I have formed an opinion as to whether it is true or not. I have formed my opinion as to whether it's true. A lot of people too would have formed their opinion as to whether that allegation is true or not. But I'm saying that given the political power that he wields, he should have ensured that there was a proper investigation to clear his name. But that was never done. So I say this, that the stench of that allegation goes with him wherever he goes. The stench of the allegation. You think we all them ABC countries and all them people gonna come? When the security people of those countries have to brief some politician coming to interact with them, you think they ain't telling them about them things? You think they're not gonna tell them about them type of allegation and so on? So they're aware. They are aware. They are aware of what the allegation was, and then the people would have given them an analysis as to what they conclude to be the truth or not. So that is it. That is it. Folks, we have had a long afternoon. As I said, I pride myself in being able to come through this afternoon. I could tell you now, I could share this with you now. We went live at 4. I was so tired that I made a mistake and I sat back in the chair. And when I jump up, it was up like 3:45. Come on, so I got a lot of answer 3:45. I was really tired, and then I can make sure I got a good night's rest. Yeah. I enjoy the program today, and thanks again for all the birthday wishes. It's, much appreciated. But you know, as I tell you, I look, Cash App, MMG, and Zell is there. For those of you who want to make a contribution, not to the birthday, but to the program, right? Aman told me yesterday, I say, hey, you want me to look at the crystal ball and tell me where we got meat for this drink and cutters and so on at the same time. I'm gonna send that to me. I'm gonna send that to me yesterday. So yes, it's good. I know we have others here who may have reached that age, but I feel so nice having attained this milestone. And again, I give praise and thanks to the Almighty because they're scheming and they're doing all sort of thing to silence Slow. But it's only the grave will silence me. And to get to the grave is the Almighty, the man in whom I place all my trust and my faith. He will determine when that time comes. He will determine. As we said, Rose, Assistant Commissioner, seems healthy on the outside. Just like that. In the twinkling of an eye, he is gone. So again, every time you see those things, you have to be thankful for the time that you have on the earth. So folks, again, apologies for not having any program on Friday. And today, the program at 4, as I told you, I had to make a real effort to be here. And I am happy that I came because we had over 2,000 people on the live. So therefore, I think it was worth the while. It was worth the while. And as it is now, we are scheduled to be here again on Wednesday, God's willing. So if the Almighty is so pleased, Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we're going to back to 11 o'clock. Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we're going to be here for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption, Incompetence. Until then, stay well. That place is unsafe, Guyana. Also, other thing happening. We have a lot of other incidents that we couldn't touch on. Today, we're going to touch on God's willing on Wednesday. And so therefore, don't call to find out when is the next time. We're going back to the regular 11 o'clock schedule Wednesday. Share the word. Until then, stay well. Bye.